What's up guys, it's Zero here, and today we are taking a break from doing Zero and actually doing TCG content because I topped a regional. So you can see here, very pretty playmat. That's probably what I wanted the most out of it, but yesterday it was standard BCS for Toronto and I got second. If you didn't see my Twitter post, I already put the list up there, but so we'll go a little bit more in depth, not that much more, but a little more in depth than the list I played. And I guess I'll do a tournament report too. So yeah, so you can see here the cool little second place trophy. Yeah, it's just not much, just a trophy, but cool. I did get my Worlds invite, but I have no idea if I'm actually gonna go or not because I did not get first, so I do not get the sponsored invite. So I do have to actually pay for my own expenses and stuff. So we'll see closer to the actual time of Worlds, but yeah, so we're here for the deck profile. So yeah, so if you don't know how I play Prison. Reason I brought Prison because I thought it was the best deck that I had out of the decks that I own. I personally do not think Prison is anywhere. I personally don't think Prison is anywhere near the best deck. I think both Kyrie and Gravidia are better than this deck. I think this deck actually has a very not good Gravidia matchup. But so yeah, I don't have those decks, so I didn't bother playing them. And more rather, I didn't want to play those decks. I could have bought a Gravidia from a friend, but I chose not to. I personally do not want to play that deck. So yeah. We'll start with the ride deck, I guess, for this deck. So we're playing the very standard ride deck of starter, the Kinetic Blue, Rosette Pink, and the Seraph Snow. So nothing too special here. Starter can be anything. I like to keep my ride lines on theme if possible. Grade 1 searches Prison, Grade 2 can Prison 1 from hand, and Seraph is Seraph name, and can Prison 2. And just the thing you need to be on. So yeah, I don't think there's a whole lot to say about this ride line. Ride line is just there, you know. Pretty integral for your game plan, but nothing too much special to say about it. So next off is the 4 Pure Lights. So again, nothing too special here. Pure Light is the deck's main win con. No reason not to play 4 of it. It's one of the only grade 4s. I think the only grade 4 that actually needs you to rewrite to do its effect. So yeah, no reason not to play 4. Reason I built this deck is I had an SP. I pulled an SP, so I'm like, oh, let's just commit to the rest of the deck now. But yeah. Yeah, this win con no reason not to play 4 of it. Now it's arranged to play less than 4 of it, so yeah, that's 4 of that. Next up, the one filler slot is the Charlene. So she's a guard restrict. You know what she does? Because this card not every list plays. When she can't attack if your opponent's 5 or less prison, and when she attacks, opponent's bang. If she attacks, your opponent cannot use blitz orders or normal use the guard. So basically, only triggers the guard. This card never actually came up for me. In my very last round, I was like, I bricked really hard. So basically, in the final match, I bricked really hard. I bricked pretty hard, and she was basically my only possible win con. Where if I flipped OT and gave all trigger effects to her, I would have won. But obviously, I didn't do that, so I lost. But yeah, this card is just a filler one of nothing too. To look at, just the one of that. You know what? I actually did not know what else to play in this one slot, so I just threw her in. Theoretically, she's an okay card. Downside is there, but yeah, just the one of nothing too much to look at there. And for grade 2s, that's great. Excuse the camera quality too. I don't know why my webcam is shading out like this, but yeah. For grade 2s, I'd say these are the staple 2 to definitely max out on, the Macrite and the Cup Spring. Macrite imprisons from top card of deck and becomes a solo attacker for a turn. Cup Spring cycles a card out of their hand into prison. These are very important because your opponent cannot play around these cards. These are cards that guarantee you 1 card into prison. All the board removal ones, your opponent can play around by either not committing board or playing cards that either have resist or cards that get stuff off the board. So I think these 2 are a mandatory 4 of. I think in my opinion, these cards are definitely the best grade 2s in the deck, and I definitely will not cut these for anything else. And then the next set of grade 2s I play are the Turquoise and Aggro Rogue 4 of each. These are basically just here as solo attackers. Basically, Turquoise can neg 5 if opponent calls something from prison, and then if opponent has 2 or more, she gets +5. Aggro Rogue, very similar. If opponent has 2 or more in prison, she gets +5, but she also gets +10 shield, so Aggro Rogue is also just a chunky shield. Sometimes only because obviously your opponent can play around by getting stuff out of the prison every turn. This card can actually just be a bricker a lot of the time, or just a solo attacker. But she can also imprison front row for a soul blast. But realistically, for the most part, you want to be saving your soul for other things. Shovel Stud, Macro, I think are both realistically better uses of your soul than Aggro Rogue, but she can be used to imprison 1 card if you need her to. And Yeah, these cards are, in my opinion, the worst cards in the deck. These are the cards that if Prison ever got any real support or good support, these are probably the first thing I'd cut from the deck. But yeah, these are, right now they just serve the role as being a solo attacker pretty much. Prison definitely just wants the solo attackers. On Pure Light, everything scales with Hitman because of Pure Light's +5, so or +5 per 2 in Prison. So those cards are very solid, but definitely nothing too impressive in my opinion. Definitely the worst cards in the deck. And finally, if that's it for grade 2s, grade 1s for Chival Stud. Adversely, I think these are the best. I think this is probably, in my opinion, the second best card. I don't know, second. This is probably your best card from the deck outside of Pure Light and outside of Pure Light, Macro, and Cup Spring. Chival Stud is a grade 1, and that is important because sometimes you do want to slam down a grade 1 to imprison something if you go second, or rest for prison cost going second. But I've honestly found myself just not using prison on turn 1 going second a lot of the time. If I draw this, if anything, I slam it down and swing with it. But yeah, this card's really good because it is your only real source of plussing, aside from like drive checking, obviously. Because realistically, this deck will always be triple grabbing every turn. But this card is like your only source of plussing. CB1, Soul Blast 1, Prison 1 of the rears, and then draw 1 if they have 3 or more. So yeah, this card's really good. This is definitely a card you want to see every single game, and that's definitely right. The reason I do choose to max out on 4 of this card. Yeah, so yeah, this card is very, very good. I definitely would not cut down this card. I think this card is a mandatory 4-up in my opinion. And then next, staple, just 4 PGs. I'm not going to go over this. PGs are PGs. Yeah, PGs are very important. They are needed for you to live the giant attacks. And then the 1 prison. Yeah, no reason to play more than 1 of this. If you draw an opening hand, sucks to suck. I can definitely say I never drew it in my opening hand post mulligan at all in this event. So yeah, you only ever need the 1. Playing the second one is actually just the brick. If you open it, you open it. It really sucks, but I think even though the 1 Charlene I have in my deck is like a 1-up, I don't really care about. I don't see a reason to play a second prison at all in any situation. So yeah, that's just the 1-up. We have our trigger count. We have the all-powerful over trigger. I actually did not see this card at all the entire day. I never offensively checked this card at the event. I think I defensive checked it once and I lost that game anyways. And other than that, I always soul chart. I think I remember soul chart it once. I think I drew into it a few times, and some games I just never saw it. So yeah, but yeah, no reason not to play it. Elder Breath is probably the best OT in the game. Is that? Next, we have 4 draws, 4 crits, 7 crits actually, and 4 heals. Yeah, this is the trigger lineup. I think this deck is quite piece reliant, so that's why I personally choose to go for the extra draw instead of the full 8 crits. But other than that, yeah, pretty standard. No fronts or anything, nothing special. No counter heals either. I think I personally just value the consistent 15 shield more than a sometimes 25 shield. So yeah, so that's why I just go for the standard regular heals, 7 crits. Again, just because of the fact that I think this deck is very piece reliant. I think the extra draws do help quite a bit. And yeah, and I can definitely say the effect crits, the effect of the actual crit never came up for me. I never ran into a situation where I actually used the crit skill to go to soul for the extra power. So yeah, so pretty stats. This list is relatively standard. Nothing too special about it. It is a relatively standard prison list. I think the only thing that's realistically somewhat different from my list is that I don't play a whole lot of grade 1s. Because yeah, I just personally don't really value playing. I personally don't really value using prison on turn 1 every single game. Some matchups you definitely don't want to do it. For example, something like Nirvana, you definitely don't want to slam down prison on turn 1 because you don't want to cheat out Expert Aldia for free. And then yeah, so yeah, so that's it for the deck. Let's go for some of my matchups now. So round 1, I played against Bab Sagra. Nothing too special. The Bav isn't exactly my idea of a really good deck or anything like that. I definitely can say I pretty much just stomped my opponent. No disrespect or anything to my opponent, but I felt like they personally didn't know the matchup too well. So basically what happened in this game was they got pushed to 4 at some point, and then they ran out of soul, they ran out of CB, and I got them to 10 prison. I never gave them damage after that until they decided to take the damage for lethal. So yeah, so at some point, I think like starting like turn 4, they ran out of all resources to unrelease stuff from prison. I drew into like 1 or 2 pure lights, and then it was just kind of game over from there. They just kind of had to guard everything as everything was going for 2 crit and lethal, and the game is just over starting from there. So yeah, that's it for round 1. Round 2, I played against Bastion. This was actually pretty funny. My opponent ended up flipping 3 triggers on their prime turn 2 turns in a row. So there was 2 turns of no restanding, and my opponent, whenever they flipped the crits and stuff, they put all effects to rear, which I don't particularly disagree with per se, but yeah, but because they did that, there was like at least 1 turn where I gave them a 2 pass on the van for their prime turn, because Vanguard is the smallest attack you have to take that turn. I gave them a 15 shield for a 2 pass because I didn't want to burn a PG on that. And seeing, I think it was the second thing, seeing as how they put all effects to rear, I was like, they'll probably do the same thing again. So I gave them 2 pass. They flipped 3 triggers on the second time as well. I'm like, oh cool, I guess I'm fine here now. So yeah, that's how that game went. And then I just kind of slowly grinded them out. I think I actually did go to time in this game, but at some point I held them at 3 targets. I didn't want to give them too many resources to unfree their stuff from prison, because I guard my van, just kind of passed on my rear sometimes. And then then it went to time, and then I won on turn 0 of time. They had 10 prison. I swung van. I think they PG'd my van, and then I flipped 2 crits, and I was already at 10 plus 10. I think I was already over 10 prison, so crit power rear, crit power to the other rear, and then 2 swings all for lethal. They could not take. They couldn't take the second one, so yeah, I kind of won like that. So pretty unfortunate for my opponent that they flipped 3 triggers on a prime turn, 2 turns in a row. So yeah, that's how that game went. Game 3, I played against grade 4 Bruce. I think nothing special here. I think I flipped a good amount of triggers. I definitely lived like 2 somewhat scary Bruce turns, but the win con here was I decked them out. I think they had 3 cards left in deck by the end of the second turn, and I had like 2 back rights and a cup spray. I'm like, okay, cool, this game is over. Nothing too special there. I just decked them out because that deck out is definitely a good secondary win con of this deck. So that's it for round 4. Round 3, sorry. Round 4, I played against the Mirror. I think I went second here. I think every match I played in Swiss, aside from my round 1, I went first or went second. I think I lost die roll basically every round, so that really sucked there. But I remember I think I went second. I was definitely really behind at some point. But there was a turn where I just couldn't take any more attacks. I just no guard. I took the 6 damage. It was a heal, so I stayed around for another turn. And then that turn that I got to play out was the turn where I won the game. So yeah, 6 heals or 6 heals. Definitely a game that I probably should have lost, but I won anyway. So yeah, there's that game. It always sucks for my opponent, but we take those. Let's be how I like to say it. Round 5, I played against Tao Ren. This was my first loss in Swiss. Yeah, this game was I think it was the one game where I felt like I kind of got robbed. Because I basically just didn't flip any triggers for basically the vast majority of the game. I just didn't have shield value in hand. So on the turn that I lost, I had to PG the van because if you don't know Tao Ren, the van gets really big. So I had to PG the van. I had to hope that he did not flip 2 triggers, one of which being a crit. And lo and behold, the man flipped crit healed. I'm like, okay, cool. I guess I cannot guard the rest of this. So I just died from that. So yeah, a very low shield value. I basically, because on that turn, going into my opponent's turn on that final turn, my hand was I think it was like a PG, 2 Pure Lights, the Charlene, and 2 5K. So I'm like, yeah, I cannot guard too much from this. So yeah, I lost because of no triggers and no shield values. That really sucks there. So that was my first loss in Swiss. Round 6, I played against Magnolia. This was a grade 4 Elder. I think, yeah, this was the guy who got 3rd as well, so props to him. But the game just went on for a super long grind game, and I think I just kind of decked out. I actually don't remember too much happened. I remember the game just went on for a super long time. Elder itself is still a pretty scary card because it's a very self-sufficient card. It just lets you swing 6 times. every single turn. NPEX also being a very annoying card in this matchup because resistant a full column. He also played a bunch of token cards in the deck, so a lot of the cards just kind of left the board. I didn't go into my prison. And he was playing the Soul Clipping Dragon, the grade 2 that goes to Soul to CC. So he always had CB to release stuff from prison every turn. So even though I imprisoned stuff from his Soul, he just got it back, and then he could just pay the CB to release it. So yeah, that was definitely, I felt like his deck was very teched out to deal with specifically like prison and Gravidia. Obviously, I don't know for sure, but that matchup definitely felt really hard just because of the cards that he was specifically playing. So yeah, so that was my second loss. So at this point, I'm X2 with one round left. In my round 7, I played against Tamayura. My opponent was a very kind individual who basically gave me the win even though after I lost, because I ended up getting down paired into round 7. So my opponent, even though my record was X2, my opponent was X3, and they had no chance of topping because of the record, and they said yeah, because I'll give you, we'll play this out, but I'll give you the win anyways, just because if I kept my X2 record, I at least had a chance to top. So yeah, so what happened in that game basically was Tamayura, he rushed me down starting from turn 2. Turn 3, I just hit no defensive, just kind of like ate a bunch of shit and died. So yeah, nothing I can do much about that. But yeah, he very nice individual, gave me the win anyway. So we finished 7 rounds of Swiss with an X2 record. I ended up placing 9th exactly. So I was the first person to get dibs if something happened to one of the top 8 participants, and lo and behold, one of the players in top 8 failed deck check. I will not go into the specifics to respect their privacy and their respect as a player. So I won't go into any details. I'll just say they failed deck check, and I got that top 8 spot. So I went in as the 8th seed. Not that I think seeding matters too much, but yeah, I obviously passed deck check. So here in first round of top 8, I played against the Tao Ren, the same player I lost to in round 5. So this was revenge for me at the very least, and I definitely did get my revenge here because on my first grade 3 turn, I flipped crit, all effects to van. I pushed him straight to 5. He had no defensive, so I got an extra check from one of my rears as well, from all the extra 20k power. So I pushed him to 5, got a good sizable guard check out of him. And then next turn, he did his thing. Tower not exactly a very threatening deck in terms of like kill pressure or anything. Just kind of like retires board, gets big van kind of thing. Just does really solid things. In my personal opinion, I think Tower Ren is the better shot making deck over Sakurio, but that's just me. But yeah, yeah, he just pushed to 5. He didn't heal down. Next turn, Pure Light, and it was game. So I got my revenge. I got my revenge back from sacking. So very nice for me. So that was a top 8 match. Top 4, I played against Nirvana. Surprisingly, the first Nirvana I played all tournament, because whenever I played, I always look off to the side to see what like my points are. I might have to play on the next round, and like every time I looked, I always saw like Nirvana, Gravidia, but I never played either of those decks until at least Nirvana until now. I never had to play Gravidia, so that's very nice. I think Gravidia is by far this deck's worst matchup. So because of that, I was really lucky there that I didn't play any Gravidia. But I ran into Nirvana. I knew this was a matchup that Prison is pretty heavily favored in my opinion, at the very least, because I think the base value thing to look at is obviously if you imprison like an overdress, everything goes to prison. So that's a really easy way to get prison. But obviously, the Grim Nirvana will just play around that by not like overdressing every single turn or anything like that, so you don't get like a huge prison off of one skill. So my opponent definitely did not do that. I don't remember exactly everything that happened, but I definitely remember my opponent not overdressing their Esperal ideas. They just kind of played down Esperal ideas, used Trickstar just as a resist booster, because Trickstar does have resist, so I can't imprison that off the board. So there's that. And yeah, so this game basically I just ended up waiting for him to blow all his soul, and I never gave him more than 3 CB. I never gave more than 3 damage, so at some point he just ran out of soul and ran out of CB at 3 damage, so he can never get his stuff out of prison. I got them to 10 prison. I wrote and then On my final, on the turn that I won the game, I swung Van with 2 crit, giant number, and then I think he gave me a 1 pass. I think yeah. I only hit the guard to like 2 pass or PG the Van. He gave me a 1 pass, and I very vividly remember on that turn I flipped crit draw heal. So yeah, so obviously crit Van powered all the rears, or powered to one of my rears, so I can hit over defenses and heals if he happened to flip a heal that wasn't an OT. Actually, no, I think he was out of T, so basically we didn't heal, but I'm pretty sure he was also out of heals. I didn't check for heals and in his drop or anything at the heated moment, so I just kind of gave obviously lethal there. So crit the Van, power Van there, and then rear, and then all the rest of the power to rear. So yeah, so very good there. And because I also healed down, I was definitely in no danger. I wasn't in any danger of dying either. I healed from 4 to 3, so I was in no danger of dying even if he did live that lethal turn. So yeah, so that was my top 4 match. And finally, my finals match I played against Kyrie. This was one deck I can say I basically had no match experience against. I never bothered playtesting, but then again, I don't play playtest against anything much in general. I definitely am the kind of guy who doesn't spend hours and hours at playtesting. I like sometimes read the cards, look at the decks, see what they do, and just kind of like play the matchup as it goes. Like I can say confidently here that I have from actually I did not play the prison mirror much at all, but I don't even think even if I lost the game was because of the matchup inexperience. I honestly think I just didn't draw as well my opponent other than the 6 heal. So yeah, so there's that. So prison definitely a match I have not played that much. Bruce was also not a matchup I've played too much either, or at all actually, I don't think. And Kyrie was definitely a matchup I have not played at all whatsoever as well, or very, very little. So yeah, but again, I don't think my matchup inexperience was the issue of me losing some of the games that I lost, or this game at all. This game I actually just kind of bricked. I never drew Pure Light. Yeah, so I never drew Pure Light, and I got OT'd on. Realistically, I don't think the OT mattered at all, because I was like pretty screwed regardless. But yeah, I think the biggest factor was I never drew Pure Light, so I could never get like any pressure going. All I really had was Seraph doing triple drive every turn, hoping to see triggers and stuff. So yeah. At one point, I think on the turn that they OT'd, I had to 6 heal to not lose. So I 6 healed, and then on the next turn, I had the Charlene. I still had the Charlene, the grade 3. And then my one and only win con here was Seraph, triple drive, hope I flipped OT, give all effects to Charlene for the guard restriction for game. And obviously, unfortunately, I did not flip the OT here, so I ended up losing that game. So yeah, so can't do much against bricking. Not drawing Pure Light definitely is one of the biggest issues with this deck, because Pure Light is how you get like a mass abundance of prison or stuff into your prison. So so that was the run. And yeah, so I went from bubbling 9th to getting 2nd, so I can't exactly complain about my placing at all whatsoever, because I realistically shouldn't have even played in top 8. So yeah, I think I can say I'm quite happy with the result overall. Prison deck that I personally still don't think is that particularly good. I think it is like third best deck at best in this format, and me personally speaking, I do like to try to play like the best deck if possible. But in this case, in my opinion, the best deck was either too expensive, because Kyrie is quite the pricey deck, or Gravidia, which I just don't enjoy playing at all whatsoever. I absolutely despise that deck. I hate that deck with a passion, and I refuse to play it, even if it is one of the best decks. I just end up settling playing with Prison instead. So yeah. So that's it for this video. Obviously, you can ask me about anything you want down below in the comments. I can't exactly say I'll give you the best answer, because honestly speaking, I cannot say I'm like the best TCG player or anything. I think I know my stuff for the most part, but yeah. Like and subscribe, all the good stuff. Do not expect regular TCG videos at all whatsoever from me. This is like probably a one-time thing. Maybe I'll do more TCG videos when Deer Days comes out or something. Who knows? But yeah, that's it for this video. Like and subscribe, all the good stuff. So I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.